Back with another edition of SVG's Sports Tech On Demand. I'm Dan Daly, SVG's audio editor, and I have the pleasure today to be joined by Matt Ruwe, Bose's Senior Product Manager, Aviation, Military, and Broadcast Headsets. That's quite a title, Matt. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Yeah, thanks. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good, all things considered. I would rather be on the NAB show floor with you guys or in a lounge or even in the airport if we had to, but we're doing pretty good on Zoom as it is. One thing to start off with here is that you cannot miss Bose's presence in sports, particularly in the NFL. Every sideline shot is going to have a headset, and the Bose brand is going to be very, very, very well represented in it. So today we're going to talk about kind of the next step from that, the Bose SoundComm B40 communication headset. Tell us what we're going to be looking at today, Matt.
Yeah, it's really interesting that you mentioned the NFL because you're right. That's a place that you cannot miss the SoundComm product. And that SoundComm product is called the B30. It's the predecessor to what we're selling today to live event professionals. The SoundComm B40 is that product. And certainly it's been a very interesting last 8 years or so as we've been a sponsor of the NFL. We talked to a lot of customers and to a lot of people in this industry asking us for the same benefits that the coaches had in this noise canceling, high performing headset. And we repeatedly said, no, that particular product is for the NFL. That story is flip-flopped. We are now selling the SoundComm B40 headset, offering the same features, incredible noise cancellation, great clear audio for communication, and of course, a comfortable fit, something that all professionals in this market space who are on camera or in a loud environment really need.
Gotcha. What are some of the specifications on the B40 that buyers may want to know about?
Yeah, so we have, of course, they're all active noise canceling headsets, but we have dual muff headsets as well as single muff headsets. And of course, that's a little bit different than what you would normally expect for a headset that has a high noise cancellation capability. The single muff, of course, is for those operators who maybe have a shoulder mounted camera or need to hear a little bit more of the environment around them. And of course, the dual muff version as well. The headset comes with a dynamic microphone, 150 ohm dynamic microphone that's really meant for really high noise environments. So it's got a really great far field noise cancellation capability. So anytime you're operating in a noisy environment, which unfortunately a lot of the camera operators are not, there's not much for an audience at a lot of these events, but that's coming back. And as they start to operate more and more with live events or live people in the audience or a lot of noise, this is going to become more and more valuable.
Is there a broader market customer base that you're going for this time with this particular product? And especially since the customer base in a way has changed with more REMI production and more podcasts and things like that.
Yeah, it's really interesting to see that switch kind of taking place. For us, the benefits that we're offering is really around the higher noise environments. And so when you look at that customer base, it's going to be places, it could be car racing, for example. We've worked with the Corvette Racing League, the 24 Hours of Daytona, where we've seen some great success with some of those environments. We've seen some great success in other live events that are still remote, but still being used with some noise in those environments, like, for example, gaming environments where we saw the Riot Games World events still happen with a lot of noise in the environment. And we're going to expect that to come back even more as the year comes, because we move forward in the year. We're going to see more and more live events.
We're hoping so anyway.
Yeah.
How would you say that the role and the purpose of the headset has changed in broadcast sports in certainly in the last year and in recent years?
That's a great question. The role has always been fundamentally the same, right? Clear communication. You have to be able to get your voice across if you're a live event broadcaster. But for the people behind the scenes, what's really continued to be critical is clear voice. You've got to be able to get that shot when the shot's there, and you have to have someone hear the director or the technical director tell you which shot to get, and you can't miss it. Live events, whether they're streaming or not, still require that. And so that hasn't changed from the perspective of getting the communication across. What has changed certainly is the amount of noise and the types of noise. And so we're working on technologies that essentially allow you to hear what you need to hear in whatever noise that could be. It could be the loudest environments that we see in the NFL or in other live events, or even quieter environments that we're seeing now where you still need to hear through an active noise, not just active noise cancellation, but electronic noise cancellation in the path for audio. And that's starting to become more important as well.
Yeah, and you're also bringing a certain level of sonic quality to it that comes along with Bose, period, whether you've got a Bose consumer system or a Bose professional headset, I would imagine, yes?
That's right. In this case, what I was trying to say is that we have active equalization in that audio path, which is brought to you essentially by the electronics in our belt pack and our side pack. And so this headset has active electronics that are not just doing the noise cancellation, they're actually shaping some of the audio that you hear, and that's to help with intelligibility. So yeah, you're right. All of those things are coming to be in the headset itself.
I would imagine that's super important because I was having a conversation with Joe Carpenter, who's one of the A1s for MLB and for Fox, and we were talking about how many of the people who are A1s today came from music. And they've got an ear. They're not just listening for 1K. They're listening for everything. So I would imagine that's super important for a headset.
Yeah, and it's really quite amazing as Bose gets deeper and deeper into this market, the amount of experience and how good the ears are in this business. And you're absolutely right. And people can pick up on the minutia of these changes, and not just in what they're hearing, but in what the microphone is providing. So yeah, it's amazing to work with these people.
What's the biggest challenge facing Bose today? And let's just say not just Bose, but I mean the sector, the headsets and microphones. What's that capture and reproduction sector? What's the big challenges right now?
Yeah, the workflows are certainly changing. We're seeing differences, from the live events where people were there in person to now working remotely, and that's a huge change. And it's likely, as we all realize, that some of that will never change back. And so we're trying to adapt and learn with that. What we're seeing also is with some of the technologies, whether they be some more common digital technologies, like you see in, for example, the belt packs from Green-Go technology, which is the technology that's being used for the NFL sideline event. Those types of technologies, which typically VoIP type technologies, are not uncommon, but are moving there faster. And we're seeing some really cool things happening enabled by that digital technology. And I think we'll see more of that in the next 5 to 10 years. It's grown a lot, but I only see it getting better and seeing some of that capability growing. And in this case, as a headset, we're just the last 4 critical feet from that belt pack that's processing that data. But the interconnection between the headset and those belt packs, I see changing. I'm starting to see capabilities where the headset, using some of its own digital technology, can work more carefully with these digital belt packs. And I think that will happen more in the next decade as the technologies start to meld together. A lot of times we've always thought about belt packs and headsets as kind of separate entities that work together closely. Because these technologies are interdependent, I really think you're going to see more melding between the two.
Yeah, and really creating an active digital ecosystem.
Right. Yeah. Today, typically the headsets are all passive, right? You haven't seen a headset in the market that's active noise reduction that's based on digital technology. And so as the headsets kind of evolve to catch up with some of the belt packs, it seems quite obvious that you start to see more melding of the two.
Gotcha. Anything else you want to leave us with? Any new projects or new products in the pipeline?
Yeah, it's interesting. Bose is, like I said before, we're fairly new to this particular business segment, but we have quite the history and legacy in the aviation business and the military business, which you mentioned in my title. And when you think about how critical communication is in the aviation world and in the military world, it just makes sense for Bose to take this understanding the technology and capability we have and bring it to this market. And I'm excited about what Bose can bring to this particular market space. We all know it's not the biggest space, but it's a space where our technology can make a difference. And that's what's exciting to folks at Bose and to folks in our division, because we can see that our technology can make a big difference here. And so thank you for having me on the call. I'm excited about being a part of SVG and talking to more people in this group, in this segment, learning more here at Bose, but also bringing some of the technology and capabilities to the users in this space.
Great to have you here, Matt. Thanks for coming. Thanks to Bose as well. Stay
Thank
safe,
you.
stay well, and see you at a show somewhere soon, I hope.
You too. Bye.